Pokemon's Lost Islands by MandJTV.
Humanity has long been fascinated by the idea of mysterious, secret islands. Treasure Island, Skull Island, Neverland, and many more. Pokemon has its own share of these elusive islands too. Islands that are either extremely difficult or flat out impossible to access today. These are Pokemon's Lost Islands. We'll progress through the islands chronologically, except for the last one, which I'm saving because not only is it the most lost, but also it's the most interesting. We begin in the Hoenn region in Ruby and Sapphire, specifically Pacifilog Town. There are minor interests here.
Oh, is this going to be Mirage Island? Because I knew that the Sevi Islands would probably come into play here. This has got to be Mirage Island, right?
But one house in particular has two older men that mention something odd.
Yeah.
Mirage Island.
There it is.
One of them is constantly looking out his window to the east and tells you that he cannot see the island today.
I have never actually been to this. This is a Pokemon event I have never actually experienced myself.
The other wonders whether the island becomes visible due to the weather or if it's physically appearing and disappearing. It's the latter. Mirage Island does physically appear and disappear, but your chances of seeing it are outrageously low. Bulbapedia says, every day a random number between 0 and 65,535 is generated by the game. If this number matches the first 2 bytes of the personality value, a hidden piece of code unique to every individual Pokemon, of any of the Pokemon in the player's party, then Mirage Island will appear. To simplify, if you have 1 Pokemon in your party, this means your chance of seeing Mirage Island one specific day is 1 in 65,535. Realistically though, you'd have a full party by this point, so assuming no personality value byte overlap, your chances improve quite a bit, all the way up to 1 in about 11,000.
Well, and keep in mind, you only have a limited box space. Pokemon Box, sure, was technically a thing you could use if you can afford it. I can't afford a modern copy of that. Ooh. Oh, God, I'd love a modern copy of Pokemon Box. However, but it's one of those things where, like, you have to take that out of your... You only have so many boxes in the game. You eventually will just run out of ability to catch Pokemon. And even if all of them have different values, right? Like, that is still an astronomical... just ask to even remotely see this island. As
a reminder, the Gen 3 shiny chance is 1 in 8,192. So Mirage Island is rarer than a shiny Pokemon. However, you can encounter wild Pokemon pretty quickly. Meanwhile, for each 1 in 11,000 attempt for Mirage Island, you have to check with the old man, go to the PC, swap out your entire party, and try again with a new squad of 6. The odds of you encountering Mirage Island
Oh, I guess technically, yeah. So, extra steps, yeah. So you can only have 6 Pokemon in your party, therefore, even if you have full boxes of everything different, you still only get the 11,000. Okay, I misunderstood, but still had technically the right logic.
Randomly are astronomically low, but also for most, it's not even possible anymore. If your cartridge's internal battery has run dry, which is likely, the games are...
It'll be stuck on that day, if I'm understanding how that works. I think berries do the same thing as well. Berries, day-night cycle, everything pauses. Everything just, time stops.
20 years old. Time-based events can't occur anymore. And Mirage Island is a time-based event. The only way you could still see it is if the battery ran dry when Mirage Island was accessible. And it will then stay accessible forever. But that's, of course, insanely unlikely. Now, I know you can repair the internal batteries, but I'm not gonna do that.
That's where I'm at. I actually hear that it's really easy to do. I need to look at a couple tutorials first and probably practice on some not so expensive games before I feel even remotely qualified to do it. It's like my 3DS, because I still carry my 3DS everywhere. I can tell you my B button got worn out from Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Taurus running in circles. That's starting to go out, and I have no idea how to crack that open and even remotely try to repair that. I might have to pay a premium to have someone repair that button.
I don't know how. And I'm scared I'm gonna ruin the whole cartridge.
Exactly.
I got a mechanical engineering degree, not electrical. But let's say you somehow get lucky and succeed. You talk to the man, and he says he can see Mirage Island. What is this mystical place actually like?
It has why not and berries.
Should it appear, you can find it on Route 130. It's smack dab in the middle of the route, removing any rocks and trainers in its way.
Interesting.
If you ascend the hill, you'll find grass, trees, and a single berry plant with a single berry. A lychee berry. Found nowhere else in Gen 3 outside of event distributions. This exclusive rare berry raises attack when the Pokemon's health gets low. Gotta be honest, it's kind of weird that this berry was so exclusive. Like, the effect isn't crazy.
No, it's
and
not.
it's very easy to find today. But
I mean, it's one of those things as well. I'm literally trying to find it. I know it's somewhere in my desk, but I have the 6 e-reader berry cards. Oh, I'll have to go find it. I should. Oh, no, I found it. Yeah, I paid premium on eBay for these, actually. But I do have the Cheelin berry, Drash berry, Agant berry, Strib berry. I'm missing 1 or 2 here. I think I'm missing a couple. I know. Oh, sorry, I missed a page. The nut pea and the pumpkin berry, which things like the nut pea berry no longer exist, right? Like I physically have these. I might post these on a community post at some point. I know I posted them a while back, but yeah, they aren't even. They're like lychee berry. Sure is cool, but it's no enigma berry. It's none of those berries, which are really hyper relevant for contests, right? Like, I don't know. I just use this as an excuse to get excited about my e-readers that I bought, that I spent way too much on.
then in the tall grass, you can find exclusive wild Pokemon. Why not?
Yep.
Just why not?
Why not?
They range from levels 5 to 50. And
amazing.
That's it.
Yep.
It kind of feels like a prank. An insanely rare and hard to find place just gives you an okay berry and the chance to catch Pokemon that are already available elsewhere in the game, just not in the wild. It's kind of underwhelming, but honestly, I think it's better that way. I think it's more fair. Like, if they locked something insanely cool and powerful behind random, extremely small chance, I think that'd be kind of messed up.
Yeah, like you wouldn't necessarily want like an Entei Raikou or something like tied to this, right? Like reasonably. So you at least get get a berry you can't get anywhere else, right? In game. Like it's also something like back in the era, ye olde days before the internet, right? Of like, well, I got to see Mirage Island. And what do you mean Mirage Island? Oh, you mean the guy that the Pacific Log town says exists? Oh, I got to see if I can find that. And then, you know, weeks go by and they still haven't found it. It's just like, what? I don't know. This is pre-modern adoption of the internet, ye olde days.
It is odd that they made it so insanely rare, though, yet still openly talked about it. For example, my Emerald guidebook had a section dedicated to Mirage Island, so ever since I was a kid, I hoped to someday have a chance to go there. But I never could because of how insanely rare it is. The Gen 6 Hoenn remakes, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, removed this version of Mirage Island. Instead, Mirage spots appear while soaring on Mega Latios or Latias.
Right,
Some include the legendary Pokemon, but others are called Mirage Forests, Caves, Mountains, or Islands, even though they're all technically islands. There's a lot of different ones and they change each day, and you can make more than one appear if you Street Pass with someone else. But
dude, I miss Street Pass, dude. This is why I'm so like upset at the Nintendo Switch, because they literally took Street Pass and Spot Pass from us. Bro, can we have a social feature? Like if I'm walking around with my Switch or Switch 2, like can I have a social feature using the infrared function, right? But I don't know. Like, well, because the 3DS did go to sleep, right? So technically, and you can still Spot Pass while doing that. So what prevents the Switch from doing this? I'm forever bummed that we no longer have social features like this, because this was kind of what Nintendo was known for. Like, this added a sense of community.
I don't consider them to be lost islands, since you can find them all with comparative ease. Ruby and Sapphire have another lost island, though, but to best explain this Gen 3 island, we first have to jump...
jump to Japan. It's going to be the old treasure map, Mew Island.
Forward to Gen 6. During the main plot of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you encounter Steven on Route 118. Shortly afterward, a Latias or Latios appears requesting
Eon ticket, right?
your help, then flies you and Steven to an island called Southern Island. There you'll find the other Lottie being harassed by Team Magma or Aqua. After multi-battling with Steven against the evil team, the rescued Lottie will join your team holding its Mega Stone. Steven also gifts you the Mega Bracelet. But did
Yeah, this was kind of a give me. You just got a really strong Pokemon for effectively free, which was kind of wild. It also did spawn. It did spawn the meme. Let me see if I can find it offhand. Latias sick question mark. Oh my god, where was it? Yeah. You'll find it floating around social media sometimes. It's like, why is this Latias a different color? Like, is it sick or something? And it's just like, yeah, it's just sick. Just go ahead and defeat it and it'll be fine. Thanks, man. I just knocked it out. Oh man, I did love that we did get that meme. That we got the meme from that. I'm very happy about that. But yeah, that was a very interesting gimme. It's modern Pokemon design isms of like giving players strong Pokemon, right? How like Rayquaza has like a really high catch rate in the same game.
you know that Southern Island is in Gen 3 as well? It actually shows up right here on the Hoenn map, but its name only appears if you've been there before. So how do you get there? The answer is the Eon Ticket. The Eon Ticket was an event item distributed in a variety of ways, but mainly from the Game Boy Advance e-reader.
I need to find one of these. I also need to see, because I know Hunter R does videos in regards to Animal Crossing e-reader printing. Like, he's gone over a lot of the e-reader tech and Animal Crossing stuff. And I think I'm a Blissey is also, someone mentioned, made e-reader stuff for Pokemon. And they all read legit and stuff like that, but I need to see what the process is because, yeah, I would like to absolutely own official stuff like this, like official distribution carts for like Gen 4 and stuff, but those start to get really spendy and I can't justify the expense.
An accessory where you could swipe cards through it to create things in your game. It never really took off, but if you got the Eon Ticket one way or another, you could actually record mix with other players to share the ticket to them. This was
I forgot about record mixing exists, so you just need someone with that, right?
actually the only way to get the Eon Ticket in Emerald, since it was only ever distributed for Ruby and Sapphire specifically. Although, quick sidebar, relevant I promise, I didn't know this until making this video. Did you know that you have to manually activate Mystery Gift, technically called Mystery Event in Ruby and Sapphire, with a secret code?
Yes. I actually did know this. Fire Red Leaf Green, and it's linked together with all, isn't it? Yeah, I actually did know this, and I pointed this out in a few reactions.
You have to talk to this specific guy in the Petalburg Pokemon Center and tell him the specific phrase, mystery event is exciting. That's weird. All I have to say, let's move on. Once the ticket is in your game and you've beaten the league, you can talk to Norman in his gym where he will hand it to you. You can then go to the Lily Cove port and speak to the woman there. Once she sees the pass, a sailor replaces her, saying, "Aye, mate, are you the one who brought that mighty odd pass?" I know he's not a pirate, but he is talking like one. Maybe he's a former pirate. "I'll tell ya, you're trying to reach a tiny spit of an island far in the south. There's no telling what we'll encounter once we reach there, aye. That shivers my timbers. All aboard!"
So this is actually what we see nowadays with Pokemon, although they do it in a less invasive capacity. Like Wolf Glick had his Incineroar distributed, right? I picked up one. We right now we're having the 4 Treasures of Ruin, right, or whatever they're called. We have to beat the shiny variants in the Funny Terra raids, and then if we get over X amount, like we just got the like literal shiny live Wo-Chin reaction meme, like we just got that distributed. So we see DNA of this in modern Pokemon events. But like now they're kind of into like DLC with like Sword and Shield. We ended up seeing the Isle Armor, Crown Tundra for Scarlet and Violet. We saw Kitakami, and then we saw Blueberry Academy. So they're kind of in the paid DLC now. But like this is effectively old quote unquote DLC because it's not as simple as actually just adding it to the game. I don't know what it is. Like, so if you say, I don't know, we're able to like, you know, Hackerman meme, and you're able to just like add a one of these items to like say Fire Red or Leaf Green, it doesn't actually it doesn't even actually acknowledge it. So you have to like inject it somehow. I don't know how the code on that works. I'd be very interested in an explanation on how that works, on how injecting something versus just having the item is different. Because I don't have that coding experience. But like there's just some isms about this. And we do get to see that this technically does continue on in modern day, but part of this, the mystique of this, I would argue, is the time period this took in, lack of internet, widespread internet during this era, word of mouth, right? Having to be in an area where you could either buy or get a distributed event like this, right? Like, there's a lot that goes into this, and it is a piece of Pokemon history.
And then the SS Tidal, which, reminder, is a passenger vessel large enough to have overnight cabins for people, is steered based on the whims of a child to the remote southern island. And despite there being no telling what we'll encounter there, the island has a full dock. This is gonna be the case for quite a few of the islands. They're supposedly mysterious and rare and far away, and then they have, like, man-made structures on them. Aha! It is I, Grunty Boy, and I need your help. Sure, with what? I'm trying to scam people online.
Makes sense.
No, I'm not helping you with that. Relax, I'm here because it's not going well. Too many people use NordVPN, the sponsor of this video. Hell yeah, they do.
I actually really like this. So far, this is a 10. Like, this was actually great.
NordVPN makes you safer online with just a single click. By encrypting your internet traffic, including on public Wi-Fi networks, it protects you from bad actors. Like you, apparently. Hey, there's no need to be rude. Yes, there is. Well, NordVPN was rude first. Their Threat Protection Pro tool is driving me nuts. It's so effective at detecting all of my phishing links, fake storefronts, and malware that preventing users from being afflicted by them. You're not getting any sympathy from me. And in fact, I'm gonna make things harder for you. Get my exclusive NordVPN deal plus 4 extra months by going to nordvpn.com/M&J, linked in the description below. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Phew, okay, that's a relief, thank you. Wait, what? Why? The boss put me on this stupid online scam project and I hate it. But now that I helped you with this promo, the project is doomed. Now I can finally return to my favorite crime department, Pokemon card scalping. Ta-ta! Gen 3's sub.
You know what? That's a 10. I like that. I like that Rocket Grunty Boy. I like that, hey, I need your help scamming. No, why would I help you do that? Well, this NordVPN is making it hard. Well, actually, this is why people are using, like, the explanation, that kind of, not turn of phrase, right? But, like, because usually it's like, this is, you know, hey, I'm here to tell you about this. But this was more of a explaining why you do this to stop the bad actors. I really liked how this was spun. I think it was great. That's a 10.
Southern Island looks like much of Hoenn, and you'll soon find a sign that reads, "Those whose memories fade seek to carve them in their hearts." This message appears in Gen 6 as well, but is sent to you seemingly telepathically. Once you enter the deeper forest, you'll find a small clearing with a puddle and a strange rock structure in the center. Interacting with it summons Latias or Latios, whichever one you cannot find roaming around in your game.
Right.
So in Ruby, it's Latias, in Sapphire, it's Latios, and in Emerald, it's whichever one you did not pick based on the news broadcast that happens right after beating the league. The Lati is level 50 and will not flee the battle, fighting you without roaming. If you succeed in catching it, it will be holding the Soul Dew, a held item.
This is pre-nerf Soldew too.
That boosts the Lati's special attack and special defense by 50% each. At least
stage.
until they nerfed it in Gen 7.
Yeah.
This is the only way to get the Soul Dew in Gen 3, and in fact, it remained an event-exclusive item all the way up until Black 2 and White 2. Make sure you save before the battle, though. I know that's common knowledge, but in Ruby and Sapphire, if you fail and leave the island, you cannot go back.
That's an interesting tidbit to know.
Once the battle with the Lati is complete, you can interact with the rock again, where you can read something else. All dreams are but another reality. Never forget.
Interesting.
This message also appears in Gen 6. You can then return to the sailor who says, "Aye, mate, there's nothing here to see or do on this forgettable island." And I just think this is funny. It's like, what do you mean, man? Like, I just caught a Latias. And he'll be like, "Oh, aye, that shivers me timbers." And then you can sail back to Lily Cove. However, this island is lost because this event is long gone.
Yeah.
I suppose you can still mix records with a save file that does have the ticket, but that's exceedingly unlikely. Fun fact, they brought the Eon Ticket event back for Gen 6. It was distributed over Wi-Fi, allowing you to return to Southern Island after visiting the first time to battle a level 30 Lati, again being the one you did not obtain during the main story. This can get you the Soul Dew, but not its Mega Stone. This event is also over, but supposedly you can still get the Eon ticket from someone else if you street pass with them, assuming they got it initially, which
Bro, please, I'm begging you, Nintendo, please bring something like this to the Switch. It's actively making me like upset.
again is possible but unlikely. I guess you could call this event lost, but I don't consider Gen 6 Southern Island to be lost because you have to go there to beat the game.
I found a listing on eBay right now for an Eon ticket for $200, and I'm really thinking about it. But I know I shouldn't, because I should be a responsible adult. But I'm really thinking on that. Like I'm a sucker for old stuff like this. I don't know. Well, it was like I've been looking at other things as well, like tangentially related. Do you know Haunting Ground, a cult classic PS2 game? $700 for this listing. $499.99 for this other one. Kuon, I didn't even know Kuon existed. I guess that's FromSoft. Kuon's like 600 pounds. Whoa, like, bruh. Dude, these collectors markets got me foobarred.
The next couple islands can also be found in Hoenn, but not just Hoenn. And in fact, not in Ruby and Sapphire at all. For these, we have to start in the games after Ruby and Sapphire, Fire Red, and Leaf Green.
Because Birth Island, Naval Rock, and whatever island Muse on, I can never remember the name. I think it's New Island or whatever. Those are technically in Hoenn.
If you played these games, then the presence of islands should not surprise you. After all, they're the only games that house the 7 Sevi Islands.
I will forever be bitter that we never got this in BDSP. I know why. I'm going to be forever bitter we never go back to these. These are actually peak for me.
But did you know that there's actually 9?
Mm-hmm.
The 90 Islands?
Well, Deoxys too, actually.
No,
that's Birth
terrible.
Island.
To access these islands, though...
Wait. Hold up. Okay, we're going in sequential order. So Ruby and Sapphire are technically first. Fire and Leaf Green are after them. Then Emerald will be after that. That will probably be Mew, because I think that was Emerald specific. I think it's Emerald Japan specifically. So this will be Birth Rock, Naval Island, which Birth Rock has Deoxys, Naval Island has Ho-Oh and Lugia, top bottom, respectively. I might be getting those two mixed up, but I feel like I know what we're talking about now.
You have to do a bit more than just beat the league.
Yeah.
You first have to upgrade to the National Pokédex, which requires owning 60 species, then talking to Oak in his lab. And then you need to talk to Celio on one island, where he recruits you to get a Ruby and Sapphire to upgrade the network machine.
I don't think I've ever heard Celio pronounced Celio, and I'm kind of here for it.
You get the Ruby by delving through Mount Ember into the Ruby Path, and once you return with it, he gives you the Rainbow Pass, which gives you access to the islands beyond the first 3. Oh, and also you have to activate Mystery Gift by putting the phrase "link together with all"
lives in my head rent free
to the paper on the counter in any Pokemart. You have to do this in Emerald too.
Yeah.
It's so silly.
It's great.
Why did they do this?
I wish they did more with it though. Cause like, imagine if you like had the list of phrases and it's like, I don't know, Link game is fun. And it's like, okay, cool. And you get like, I don't know, like a box wallpaper or something like that. Like, I feel like they could have done more with this than just unlock Mystery Gift. There probably is. There's probably a whole system behind it that I just don't know about. I'll have to research it.
You might have guessed, both of these islands require event items to access. Events that are long gone.
Yep.
So you cannot legitimately sail to these islands anymore. The first of these is the Aurora ticket. If you show it to the sailor in Vermilion, he'll take you there immediately and drop you off inside a full building. Again,
wait a minute. Was that censored?
Take you there immediately.
We'll have to take you to a redacted island anytime.
And drop you off inside a full building. Again, this is weird. Who built this building? Why is it not just a rocky shore?
I mean, it's one of those like shortcut things. Like Pewter City is not like 6 buildings, right? Like it's realistically a city like you see in the anime. But for game shorthand, technological limitations, etc., like it presents as like 6 buildings, right? It's kind of a shortcut to like, yeah, we landed somewhere. I don't know. I'm also very hand-wavy.
Interesting thing about this island is that if you open your town map, you'll see that you are indeed within the Sevi Islands, not too far from 6 and 7 Island. Then once you step outside the harbor building, you will find yourself on Birth Island.
Yeah, this one should be Deoxys, which the Aurora ticket would actually coincide with the movie Destiny Deoxys.
It's triangular and small. Almost all of it can fit onto the screen at once. There's nothing there but a strange dark triangle in the center. If you interact with it, it moves. This is actually a weird puzzle. You have to interact with the triangle and watch it move, then take the shortest path to its new location.
If I remember correctly, a shortcut to remembering it is I think it's the inside, the side closest to like the center, right? So like how it's on bottom right now, you would approach it from the left. On top, you approach it from the bottom.
Then interact and repeat. This seems pretty simple, but to be honest, it actually confused me for a bit the first time I tried it. I thought I was taking the shortest path, but it turns out at one point I was taking a path that was shortest to get there, but it put me on the wrong side, thus out of position to take the shortest path to the next location. If you ever do this yourself, I recommend just following Bulbapedia's instructions.
Yeah, Bulbapedia, Cerebi. I know this from researching Cerebi back in the day before Gen 4 dropped. Not that I ever experienced it, right? But like, I remember reading. I read Cerebi a lot.
As the puzzle goes on, the triangle turns redder and redder until finally, once it's back at the center, you can interact with it, making Deoxys appear. This is how you get the second Gen 3 mythical Pokemon. Jirachi had other distributions like the Coliseum bonus disc.
Yeah, I need to check that mine works still, because I got that for like 180 a few years ago when it was still fairly reasonable.
Deoxys battle is pretty epic, playing an intense theme exclusive to this battle. Deoxys is level 30, and its moveset varies depending on the version. That's because once you catch it, it will change form.
Once you catch it, it changes to the specific form tied to the game. Fire Red should be attack, Leaf Green should be defense, and Emerald should be speed.
You may already know about the different Deoxys forms today and how you can change its form with varying methods across games, but usually interacting with meteorites. But in Gen 3, its form depended on which game the Deoxys was in.
Yes,
Normal
it was.
in Ruby and Sapphire, attack in Fire Red, defense in Leaf Green, and speed in Emerald.
I actually didn't know this was Ruby Sapphire, available in Ruby and Sapphire. That's good information.
Once catching it, you can return to Vermilion, where if you check your town map again, you'll see that the triangular Birth Island is now visible.
Nice.
In Emerald, things play out pretty similarly, but with 3 minor differences. Number 1, Birth Island looks a bit different, with grass instead of dark dirt under the triangle. Number 2, the sailor describes the island as far, far away, which we know to be true because it's not near Hoenn, it's in the Sevi Islands. And number 3, it sucks. Look, I recorded this in both Fire Red and Emerald, and in Fire Red, it only took me 4 Ultra Balls. But in Emerald, it took me 4 attempts, totaling over 100 Ultra and Timer Balls, which never worked because I was so pissed off I gave up and Master Balled it.
I mean, to be fair, that's just old Pokemon, right? We streamed a while back. I just did a random off stream of Pokemon Fire Red because I was actually at one island. I was trying to catch Moltres, and like I was like tennis ball launching like Great Balls at this thing. I use Great Ball specifically because I like the aesthetic. That's my preferred aesthetic. I am a Great Ball stan. I actually don't like Ultra Balls, unironic, because, you know, yellow, black color scheme. Just hypothetically, you'd think I'd like it. I don't like Ultra Balls. Anyways, not relevant. But yeah, no, like sometimes you'll catch it in like 3 balls. Sometimes you're sitting there and you're going multiple attempts. I remember trying to shiny hunt Tapu Lele, and there was a good natured Tapu Lele in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I remember I had to try, 3 attempts because it was struggling itself down to actually catch it, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not shiny hunting this. I actually think it ended up being shiny locked. I can't remember.
Screw you, Deoxys! You are a plague upon this planet and my sanity!
I mean, technically not incorrect, because Space Virus.
Birth Island only ever appeared in these 3 games, though, since famously, Deoxys returned in a different fashion in Gen 6, straight out of an asteroid. But the triangle it comes from, and the movement that triangle makes before it attacks, are direct references to its original appearance on Birth Island.
This is why Oraz is honestly one of the best, if not the best, Pokemon games. Like, it really goes up there with Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
The other Lost Sevi Island is quite different from Birth Island, though. First off, it's much larger, but also it doesn't feature 1 new at the time Pokemon. It features 2 older Pokemon. The event item is the Mystic Ticket, which if again shown to the Vermilion Sailor, will take you to another fully constructed building. Your town map will show that you're somewhere between 4 and 5 Island. Exiting the building reveals your location, Naval Rock. Fun fact, I named my Animal Crossing New Horizons island Naval Rock as
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
a reference to this island, and it was a perfect fit because my native endemic fruit was oranges. And navel oranges are a type of orange. I don't know why the island is called Naval Rock, though. My best guess is that the outside of it looks like a big, rocky, outy belly button. If you dive deep into that belly button, though, you'll walk through a few chambers, including a maze-like one with some lengthy dead ends. There are no wild Pokemon. Eventually, you'll reach a fork in the road.
The no wild Pokemon's definitely a strange one.
Going right has you go down so many floors, it's literally like 14. Eventually reaching a darker chamber with water at the back. And there waits Lugia. You can then start a battle to try to catch it, and it will be level 70. Should you go left at the fork, which you can do before or after Lugia, you get to do both, you'll go up a few floors to reach the island's summit, where, you guessed it, Ho-Oh will fly down and attack you. It is also level 70. Aside from some other random distributions, this event is the only way to get these Pokemon in Gen 3 without transferring them from Colosseum and XD.
Yeah, they are.
The GameCube spin-off games. And that will take extra equipment and also a ton of time. To get Ho-Oh from Colosseum, you have to purify all 48 Shadow Pokemon and then beat all 100 trainers in Mount Battle's battle mode with your story mode team. But even then, that's still probably better than trying to catch these stupid birds on Naval Rock because they're evil. They know Recover, which has 20 PP in Gen 3.
Yeah, didn't it have like max 64 in Gen 1? That's why Gen 1 Mewtwo is disgusting, right? It had a lot more back in Gen 1. Well, it obviously maxed out, right? Obviously you're PP maxing that. Yeah. This is fun. Hope you brought Full Swipe.
Emerald's version of Naval Rock is functionally identical, but aesthetically quite different. It's brown on the outside instead of light gray, and its interior is a light yellow instead of gray and white. The two color schemes could be a reference to Ho-Oh and Lugia's original games, Gold and Silver.
Yeah,
also, when you leave in Emerald, the sailor says, Did you hear that? That low growling from deep in there. Are you sure it's safe? Do you think we should leave? I just thought it was interesting that he expressed such fear, even after you've caught the legends. When you check your town map in Fire Red Leaf Green after leaving, you can now see Naval Rock present in the spot you were before.
I think this is actually super interesting because that means all 3 sections of the 7 islands technically have 3 islands. You have the first section, which is 1, 2, 3 island. You have the second section, which is this one with 4, 5 island, later with Naval Island. And then lastly, you have 6, 7 island on the final one, but that also has Birth Island on it. So I think that's really interesting.
Naval Rock does not return in any other game.
Yeah.
The next only Kanto games, Let's Go, did not feature the Sevi Islands nor any Pokemon outside Gen 1. Oris could have included it, but they instead opted to put the Hoopa rings across the map for a bunch of different legends, with Ho-Ohs and Lugias being version exclusives in C Mauville.
To be fair, the Hoopa rings were a shortcut. Like you could tell Pokemon at this point, especially leading into the years leading up into Dexit, right? Like it's struggling to find ways to put all of these Pokemon in, and thus we even see the generation after this with the Ultra Wormholes leading into. Yeah, we're just going to give you what we see in this one. And then DLC, you get other things as well. Like I can catch like Cobalion up to, and even Keldeo in the Isle Armor, Crown Tundra DLC, right?
The next Lost Island is in Gen 4, but before we can go to it, we have to travel to one that is not lost. Well, actually, first we have to activate Mystery Gift in the Jubilife TV building by talking to this guy and putting in the phrase, everyone happy Wi-Fi connection. Again, I do not get why this was necessary. They got rid of it in Gen 5. Why did it last all this time? Why need a password to receive fun things?
I don't know. Like I don't have a valid reason for that. It's just this is this is Pokemon. I don't know how else to word it.
Once you become champion and have the national dex in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, you can enter Sailor Eldritch's house in Canalave City.
Wait a minute. We went all the way to Gen 4. Did we miss the Mew event, or did I just hallucinate? Yeah, or is it Old Island? I literally have my second monitor. Mew in Emerald. Yeah, the old sea map event in Emerald. To Faraway Island. I had that wrong. I apologize about that. He might be saving it for last. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was Emerald, but that was only in JP Emerald, not English Emerald.
And find his son tortured by an unending nightmare that he can't wake up from, saying Dark is watching him. The mother knows a lunar wing from Full Moon Island would save him, but Eldritch went there and couldn't find one. When you speak to Eldritch, he immediately takes you to Full Moon Island, which doesn't have a real dock. Finally! Although it does have man-made looking stairs. I mean, a lot of places do that because they just never design tiles for like a natural ramp.
Yeah.
But also like
it's a shortcut.
People also definitely just know this island is here. So like maybe they, and there's like the pillar things. Anyways, Full Moon Island is not large. The path winds east and culminates in a clearing with Cresselia in the center. Interacting with it registers it as seen in your Pokedex, and then it disappears to roam Sinnoh, leaving the lunar wing behind.
I forgot how good Gen 4's soundtrack was. Actually getting nostalgic.
You can then pick it up, return to Canalave, and rescue Eldritch's son. It's a kind of freaky event with a happy ending. But Full Moon Island is not lost. It's easily accessible in every Sinnoh game, including BDSP. As for the Lost Island, there's one more thing I need to show you first to best understand it. The Harbor Inn is the building north of the Pokemon Center in Canalave. The sign says the name of the place, but then the rest of the text is too faded to decipher. The door is locked tight, impossible to open. The Harbor Inn will stay this way forever unless you get a specific event item, the member card. And this is where things get super weird. After getting the item, you can approach the inn and find that its sign looks different now. Harbor Inn, a roost for restless sailors. Enjoy sweet dreams in our sumptuous beds. And now the door is unlocked. But when you enter, things are immediately off. The music changes to that of the old chateau. A strange man immediately greets you, telling you, "We've had a reservation for you. We've held it for a long time." He ushers you to the bed where you lay down as if bidden there. After blinking a few times, you're overwhelmed by darkness. But then you wake up somewhere else. It's an island. A ship is there, but there's no one to captain it. You might then notice something interesting about this place. It is a mirror image of Full Moon Island, but the shore is barren and rocky, rather than lush and covered in trees and grass.
I do like this
You
duality.
have no choice but to journey deeper and find a forest clearing. And within this crater-like arena is the mythical Pokemon Darkrai. Interacting with it starts the battle, level 40 in Diamond and Pearl and level 50 in Platinum, where you have the chance to catch it. Make sure to bring full restores, because with Hypnosis, Bad Dreams, and Nightmare, it can wear down your team quickly. Once caught or defeated, you'll hear a strange, disembodied voice. Darkrai, your power is strong. Though you don't will it, you make people and Pokemon around you see terrible nightmares. That is why you came here. New Moon Island. There is no one but you here. There is none that can be drawn into your nightmare. If anyone were to fall into a nightmare, the Full Moon Island is nearby. And then you wake up, back in the bed in the inn. It was all a dream, yet Darkrai was real and is now in your PC. When you step outside the inn, a sailor, likely Eldritch, approaches. You've been asleep for a long, long time. What happened to you? And what were you doing here? No one's lived here for 50 years.
Amazing.
Ugh, creepy! But New Moon Island is real. You can return to it with Eldritch anytime you want. But how did this happen? How did you get to an island with your Pokemon through a dream? And who was that creepy man who forced you into the bed? He wasn't working with Darkrai. They made it very clear that Darkrai does not want to cause nightmares. So is he just like some vengeful, cruel spirit? I don't know. It's also confusing and weird and pretty cool. Unlike,
didn't we have the ghost in Gen 6, like the ghost of the mansion or something like that, that like has a chance to spawn? There, I vaguely remember. Like Pokemon, honestly, we have the ghost type, right? Like has not actually shied away from ghost encounters and other creepy things. I think this is the creep factor done right for a Pokemon game.
other islands in this video, this lost island was actually brought back after its initial generation. In BDSP, if you got the member card from Wi-Fi Mystery Gift in April of 2022, you could play out an essentially identical event. I did not do that. I've made it clear before that I hate BDSP.
I might actually have it. I'd have to check my key items.
And so had no interest in playing those games for even a moment longer. But anyway, since I missed both the Gen 8 and Gen 4 event, New Moon Island is lost to me and many others. We now move to Gen 5, which features 2 lost islands, and they are unique from all the others in a major way.
One of them is going to be Victini. I'm trying to remember what the other one is. Because I'm kind of drawing a blank, actually.
They're not mysterious, remote, wild places. They have people on them. A lot of them, actually. You can even see the islands in plain sight on the Unova map. And they have buildings. I guess a lot of the other ones did too. I've been clowning on that. But like, these ones have buildings. Like, not meant for boats. Now, of these 2 islands, one of them is significantly more interesting than the other, so we'll start with the lamer one. Step 1 to access it is going to GeoNet, the globe in every Pokemon Center.
Dude, I really miss Nintendo WFC.
There you can set your save file's location independent of the game's language. Once you've done this, you have to trade Pokemon with someone in a different GeoNet country. This may seem impossible today due to the DS Wi-Fi connection being shut down a long time ago, but it is actually still possible. You simply have to trade through local wireless.
Okay, you have to local wirelessly. I wonder if someone's actually, because there are certain games that when the service actually goes down, you're able to connect to a private server and still have online functionality. I wonder if that's the case for Gen 5.
Within the Union Room. I accomplished this by having one save file be honest and say I'm in the USA, and then the other say their GeoNet location was Austria. Austria? Good eye, might. That is a joke.
Funny.
I want to be so clear. I know the difference. I am referencing Dumb and Dumber. You can then go to Castelia City's Unity Pier, the second
Another movie I haven't actually seen. I haven't seen Dumb and Dumber yet.
from the left, and the woman by the blue ship will take you to Unity Tower. There you'll find colorful flags and a massive skyscraper. Unity Tower is actually inspired by the United Nations, but the building itself looks much like the Empire State Building.
Okay.
Once inside the lobby, you can head to one of the 131 floors, one for each country GeoNet recognizes.
Okay.
But you can only go to floors of countries you've interacted with. I headed to the Austria floor, where I could have a brief conversation with the avatar of my other save file.
Dude, that is actually really cool. Okay, I'm gonna have to get on this. I'm gonna have to boot up a copy of Black and White. I'm gonna have to boot this up and see if I can't make some shenanigans happen. Like, if nothing else, how cool would it be to travel, go to like a convention or something like this and set up a meet and greet, and people from all over the world or and just different areas do this, and then just do a stream where I like put the cart on stream, and then they're just immortalized. Like, yes, hi, we're gonna go to this floor, and this floor is Austria. Like, and then just see everyone who's like how's that? Like, dude, that would be so cool. This has future momentum. This is such a cool concept, and I'm kind of upset that we really don't have a modern equivalent of this. This kind of makes me angry.
And that is it. There's nothing else to do.
I mean, honestly, like for someone like me, this is perfect. This is actually amazing.
It is so lame. It
I
acts
love
like
it.
a trophy case for international trades, but it can only hold up to 20 trainers at a time.
That's fine.
Far less than 130. Unity Tower is so forgettable that when I was working on this video, I was working on the other Gen 5 island and then noticed this one next to it and was like, wait, what is that? And then
I've never heard of this. I maybe have heard of it as a footnote, but I didn't even know this tower existed. I need to unlock this.
figured out it was Unity Tower, and I was reading the Bulbapedia article, and I was like, wait, I've read about this one time before, like 4 years ago, and then promptly forgot about it. And I'd never been there myself until making this video. Let's move on to the much more interesting island. Like many others, it requires an event item, at least in one pair of games. That item being the Liberty Pass. It was distributed through the internet for a brief period right after Black and White release.
I think I did this day one, if I remember correctly. I remember this. I was still in high school when this was a thing. Yeah, no, I did this day one. I remember. I remember getting the Liberty Pass and getting Victini.
I definitely could have gotten this event. I got Black and White right when they came out.
Yep.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I was in high school. I was busy. With the Liberty Pass,
that.
you can go to Liberty Pier, the far left one, and ride the boat to Liberty Garden, which, shocker, is inspired by Liberty Island, home of the Statue of Liberty. I feel like I've stumbled into an ad for Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Although I
Not sponsored.
should note that Liberty Garden has a lighthouse, not a big statue lady. When you first arrive to Liberty Garden, though, things are in chaos. Team Plasma has attacked. There are multiple grunts to fight, but since this event is accessible as soon as you reach Castelia City, their Pokemon's levels are only in the teens.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird doing it post-game when Team Plasma has already disbanded. As you fight through, you'll find a sign that says, "This lighthouse shines with the light of freedom."
Because America.
America, sure.
Oh my god, we're actually on the same page. Yeah, because Black and White are supposed to be America.
Only authorized personnel may enter. Hey, that doesn't sound like freedom.
Actually, hold up. So, Lieutenant Surge is the Lightning American, right? Right? Like going back ye olde days. And like we even see reference of this in like the anime and stuff. Like it was like about like what? Gen 3 is when Pokemon started to kind of close off the real world references and stuff. How Mew was from South America. Lieutenant Surge being the Lightning American, and I'm sure there's other ones as well. The Tixie branch, we talked about that in a reaction. If you go into Silph and Fire Red and Leaf Green, I think it's there in Red, Blue, Yellow as well. And you talk to one of the scientists after he's defeated. He talks about going to some the Tixie branch in some no man's land in Russia. Like, I wonder. I'd have to dig into it. I wonder because Gen 5 Unova is supposed to be the America, quote unquote, like the US. Did Lieutenant Surge get retconned to be from Unova? I don't know how that interacts with modern lore. I don't know. That's kind of the danger of having to retcon your stuff just way later down the line, and especially remaking your older products, right? Not just like Fire Red Leaf Green, but like Let's Go Pikachu, right? Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, bringing stuff forward, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, right? Like that's the danger of having to retcon something like that when it's based in like, yeah, Mew is just from South America. Like you have real world references.
Oh, also there's a vending machine. Wow,
Base.
This lost island has capitalism. This
Hell yeah.
place is sickeningly American. After enough fights, you can enter the lighthouse and descend into its basement. The stairway culminates in a final room that, oddly, looks like a children's bedroom. And Victini is standing right there. The grunt explains that 200 years prior, a rich person bought Liberty Garden and hid Victini away within it.
That is the most American plot point I've ever heard.
Due to its powers of gifting victory to all near it, it became a target of villains, and the rich person wanted to protect it, and so locked it away here. Now Team Plasma wants it for their own goals, which, again, did not make any sense after having already defeated them. Once you defeat the last grunt, you can battle Victini and try to catch it. Only at level 15, but its catch rate is still only 3.
It's so funny because its signature move V-Create is like staple on competitive Smogon Rayquaza sets. Like Rayquaza, if that got V-Create and VGC, I would be running Rayquaza left and right.
After the battle, the grunt says, living with Victini means accepting Victini's cruel destiny. Someday we will test you to see if you are truly ready for that. Cruel destiny? Damn, this grunt's a poet. When you return outside, you'll find Professor Juniper and the police arresting Team Plasma. Juniper repeats the discussion about evil people wanting to use Victini's powers and understanding the rich person's reasoning behind locking it away to protect it. But she also says, I think shutting the poor thing up in this room was a mistake. She also talks about how Victini gets a special unique Pokedex number, 0. Juniper and the police leave, and now Victini gets to live a new life out in the world with you. Interestingly, Liberty Garden returns in Black 2 and White 2, and you can go to it at any time without needing an event item. So it's really only lost in Black and White. However, in the sequels, Victini is not there, so there's not really anything to do unless you bring Victini there yourself. If you show the Pokemon its old room, it'll do a cute little dance, then return to its Pokeball with an air of satisfaction.
But I mean, we love stuff like this in Pokemon, right? Because there is a time skip. I think it's like 2 years between Black and White, or Black and White and Black 2, White 2. So it's really cool to kind of have this like kind of closure, kind of like this reference. Like, I mean, I guess we still kind of have things like this in modern Pokemon. It just doesn't feel the same, right? Like, these little touches are really what make these games worth it. Like, what make these games incredibly special. And it's hard to put into words. It's hard to express how cool something like this is, especially if you're like, oh, well, we caught Victini here in Black and White 1 through the event. What if we bring a Victini here and then it does the funny dance and you're rewarded for doing that, right? You are rewarded for going the extra mile there and intuiting that this is a thing. I will also say, I think Keldeo is also another one in this. Victini and Keldeo are two of the only Pokemon still that do not have a shiny form that is obtainable. I think Koraidon, Miraidon, I don't think we've had a distribution or anything on that yet. Eventually we got like the shiny Tapus and stuff, right? So I wonder if they're gonna wait for the generation to be over. But you cannot find a legitimate shiny Keldeo or a legitimate shiny Victini to this day, at least as of reacting to this.
And if you want to feel an air of satisfaction, consider subscribing to the channel, or double check that you're subscribed if you think you already are. If you watch this far into the video, you probably enjoy what I do. And now for the final island.
This has got to be new.
This one is my favorite because the lore behind it runs really deep. It's also definitely the lostest because the fewest amount of people have ever been able to legitimately access it.
Right.
That's because it is only found in Emerald and was never officially accessible outside of Japan and Taiwan. Yet the code for it is in every version of Emerald. So with a little bit of witchcraft, we can see what would have happened if we'd ever been given access to the old sea map.
So Emerald is notorious. Gen 3 is notorious for ace arbitrary code execution. That is tech wizardry far beyond my pay grade and far beyond my specialty. I know it exists. I know people can do it. I could probably follow a guide. Hypothetically, on a official cart, you could hypothetically arbitrary code execution one of these, if I understand that correctly. But the means to do so is so far outside my prerogative. I would defer to looking up that information and finding people far more specialized than me. So if you were so inclined, potentially without any external software, you might be able to arbitrary code execution.
When you take this item to the harbor in Lily Cove, things don't go quite the same as they do for the other Hoenn accessible islands. The sailor actually tells you that it's too far and that he cannot help you.
Nice.
But then Mr. Briny, captain of the SS title as of the postgame, busts out and excitedly announces that he will help you. So again, you essentially commandeer a passenger cabin ship. These people got on there thinking they're going to Slateport, and you're taking them to the middle of nowhere. And then when you land on the island, again, it somehow has a man-made dock. But for once, this dock actually makes sense, because someone has been there before. This island is aptly named Faraway Island. Its shore is rocky, and if you navigate over to the left, you'll find a sign with faded writing. Filling in the blanks, it reads, some month ending in BER, 6th day. If any human sets foot here again, let it be a kind-hearted person. With that hope, I depart. If you navigate up the rocky shore, the terrain transitions into puddle-filled jungle. Then when you reach the deeper area, you find Mew. Remember that sign we read? Of course you do. That was like seconds ago.
I was about to say, does this line up with the date in the old mansion on Cinnabar Island? Does that actually line up? And this is also a really cool, like, it feeds into the original, feeds into red, blue, yellow, or I guess red and green technically, right? It feeds into that. And it also feeds into Pokemon the first movie as well, as somebody who watched that in Pokemon 2000 religiously as a kid, right? Like, oh, that feeds in so well. Just they capture the jungle environment very well. Like you're actively sloshing through some really, really wet jungle to find Mew.
The Japanese version of the sign, it ends with the remnants of a signature, the Japanese symbol for G.
G. Okay.
This heavily implies that the message was written by Mr. Fuji, the man in Lavender Town who founded Cinnabar Lab and is essentially confirmed to have been involved in the creation of Mewtwo.
I love that.
The Pokemon Mansion journals, which he may have written himself, mention that Mew was found in Guyana, South America, deep in the jungle.
Yeah.
This area is definitely jungle, so Faraway Island could very well be an island off the coast of Guyana. This lost Pokemon Island could be a real world place. The month on the message works well too. Different languages imply things differently, but at least in English, the final Mansion diary entry about Mewtwo being too strong is dated September 1st. This means that sometime after Mewtwo's escape, during one of the final 4 months of the year, all of which end in BER, Mr. Fuji could have returned Mew to Faraway Island, then left a message, hoping that whoever finds it next won't mimic their mistakes. Once you see Mew, it immediately flees, but not far. It will scurry through the tall grass, again with no wild Pokemon, until you eventually catch up with it and can initiate a battle.
So this actually is a reminiscent of modern mechanics, right? Like modern, Pokemon being in the overworld, being able to see like a Bergmite or being able to see like an Arbok or something in the overworld. You can kind of see the Mew sprite in the overworld here, which is way ahead of its time.
Mew is level 30 and knows some tricky moves like Transform and Metronome, but its catch rate is 45, the same as Pokemon like Delibird or Bagon, and thus much better than 3 like all the other legends so far.
Right.
Once caught, you can return to the sailor, who says Captain Briny can be so maddeningly fickle. Which is hilarious. And fair, you dragged all these people to the middle of nowhere, and then you sail home. As I said earlier, this island never returns in any other game. Mew's been distributed a bunch of other times.
I would have to say it's probably because of the real world implications why this has never been brought back. Also, like, relevancy, right? Sure, they could have brought it back in Oraz, technically, I guess, but I think that because it is so inherently tied to a real world location, I think that's probably why they haven't really redistributed it.
But this was the only legitimate way to battle a wild Mew, rather than simply receiving one. All the lost Pokemon Islands are fascinating, but Faraway Island is far and away my favorite. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out another one of my videos diving into classic Pokemon quests, check out my video about why catching Regigigas in Gen 4 was almost impossible.
And we've already watched that one, which was a very good video. I recommend you watching it if you have not. This was honestly really cool to watch. I loved watching this and going on a trip down memory lane. I was like, wait, am I tripping? Faraway Island on here? But I am glad that he saved it towards the end, because honestly, like, I share a lot of that sentiment. I share a lot of just this entirety. Like, I loved everything about this. Thank you, MandJTV, for an amazing presentation. And you at home, hopefully you enjoyed this. I need to actually see if there are e-reader cards for e-reader. I'm looking at e-reader, if I can spell old C map. I wonder if someone has potentially made them or made copies of them. Because I do have an e-reader that I can actually that I can pull out. I would just need to see if it's an e-reader or how they distributed that event. Allegedly, looks like some Etsy sellers potentially might actually have distribution carts that they've made themselves, which would be pretty interesting. So if you have if you have information on how to get some of these older events, if you have some information that maybe would help some others, right? Especially in a capacity on like distribution or helping others access this content in present day, because this is for all intents and purposes, right? On disk, right? Like this is content that you can access on the cart, but you just need to have the correct thing injected into your save file to do so. Definitely leave it in the description down below. Obviously, in terms of piracy or anything like that, please, nothing like that. But you know, if you have any resources that would help people experience stuff like this, because I want people who've never experienced things like this to be able to experience the same things that I did, but things that I also couldn't do as well, because I was never able to get to Birth Island or Naval Rock. And I think it'd be really special for some people to discover that. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, MandJTV, for an amazing video. I will see you all in the next one.